Yes, everybody, how you doing? Red Pill Phil here. Hope you're managing to keep yourself on a level, without a doubt. Stories gravitating all over the place, but particularly this segment, I'm going to be covering the B.L.M march that happened in Tottenham over the weekend. We shall get to that on the other side.
So they're the opposite of the free press.
We did it like that, and now we do it like this. We did it like that, and now we do it like this.
They claim to fight for liberty, but they're authoritarian as they come. So they're the opposite of the free press.
We did it like that, and now we do it like this. We did it like that, and now we do it like this.
It's not about digging into it. It's just about overseeing on a sociological level what the march represents and how it looked, I guess, but only from one lens. So there would have been other instances, probably no doubt numerous other videos that probably would have been more interesting, but this was what I seen. I thought, right, let's run with this. No justice, no peace are immediate demands. Stop the over-policing of black communities, stop the use of excessive force, stop the use of tasers, stop S60 searches, stop the disproportionate use of handcuffs during searches, and obviously it was a Saturday 8th at 1 p.m. Right then, so this is what I have got here. It is, like I say, Rupley's footage. Thank you to Rupley for, I wouldn't say giving me permission, but at least you're getting the accreditation for me using it. So let's go to the beginning and we'll just run through it chronologically within this video. Like I say, it's only a couple minutes long. No doubt there's other bits that will be more juicy, but I'm just going to run with this. Okay, so here we go.
For justice, for justice,
Black Lives Matter. Stand up to racism. Let's just go back a little bit there. Boris is a pussy-o. What I see is a lot of people there that don't seem to be too black with all that, but they're kind of saying all types of things. Black lives matter. Of course they do, my friend. All lives matter. Boris is a pussy-o. Boris ain't perfect. He ain't my favourite person, but, you know, have you got better things to do than just to stand there holding that? So that says something about him. This is why Ali wants to speak to the manager. I mean, look, Boris is a pussy-o, so what's politics, as in Boris Johnson, got to do with this? Really? You kind of try to drag Boris down, whether you agree with him or not, over the man's general leadership. He's kind of irrelevant for this, because this is Black Lives Matter, and this is supposed to be about systemic problems within the police force that's making it really dangerous for the average black person to be on the street. So it's got naff all to do with Boris and whether you feel that he's a pussy-o. So just had to say that. Build a mass movement to smash racism. Okay, sounds cool. Malcolm X was never my favourite go-to. Probably a bit too militant for me, to be fair. But at the same time, you know, the man was a very clever, articulate gentleman, so can't say too much on that. The bottom bit is really striking. Fight for socialism. I don't know whether he's just not understanding that bottom bit or whether he totally understands it and he's there wanting to push it. Either way, what is really disingenuous about all this is the average black man probably won't even be able to articulate the theory of socialism and the elements within it. Not to patronize, it's not about that. This is supposed to be about Black Lives Matter. This is supposed to be predominantly about one thing. Now, socialism has got nothing to do with I can't breathe. I don't think that has got anything to do with it. What's worrying about this, and I guess you'll get it in a lot of movements, and I've seen it in movements that I follow as well, is that even whatever the actual overall message with the organizer, whether that be of a toxic message, a wrong message, a misinterpreted, a misguided message, however you want to put it, whatever their intentions, someone here will literally tell you exactly what they're pushing within it. But they're using the adversity of the black man to push socialism. Same again, going back to the average, I could walk around alongside on my side now and ask the average black individual, female, male, to break down socialism. And they probably won't be able to, because not to condemn, it's literally, it's not part of their life as they see it. So what they've done, a lot of people will follow Black Lives Matter because the I Can't Breathe and the George Floyd, and it was horrible what happened. Can't get away from that. But then to push another agenda underneath it is very sly and it's very underhand. But I'll say this again, most intelligent people will be able to go on any given march and possibly see something like this, as in protesting something that is not ultimately what the overall message of that march is about. But you can see that there's something quite, sinisterish, the way he's kind of stood there just holding that. Maybe it's just my interpretation, but he's not exuding happy vibes and holding it, let's put it that way. And basically, I'm not feeling that. Everyone's got their own opinion, I guess, and he's got the right to hold it up. So fair enough. He's not breaking any laws. The policeman there, they're probably not even seeing what he's holding up, but don't give a shit anyway. Just probably getting overtime for this. So who cares at this point? Hey up. What's going on here?
He hasn't done anything wrong. Take his cuffs off.
What's going on there? People say he hasn't done it. I don't know what he's done or what he's not done. I mean, we can see the shot before where they were just showing him holding a sign up. I can't imagine he's been gripped and the handcuffs placed on him because he was holding the sign up. So there must have been something that happened. So, and it's very ironic that one of the mandates within this manifesto, you could argue, is about handcuffing. And so it's almost like, I'm not saying this is a stunt, but it's a good way to rally the crowd that's come out to protest against the very thing that is happening to this man. But same thing again, I don't know what he's done, whether he deserves to be in that position, but whether that is a rational way to deal with him, given the circumstances of what has kind of played out. Can't say it, you can't comment on flash editing like that. 1 minute he's stood there, next minute he's got this on. So I've no idea. Obviously, it's not pleasing some people, whether they're getting it right in their estimation and they're just seeing something that fulfills their day out, or whether they think it is over proportionate. I can't imagine these two policemen are going to be overly disproportionate or over proportionate in the dealing with him on a march that is talking about police being disproportionate with black people or people of the BAME community. I just can't see that, but maybe it's just me. Thumbs up.
Raj, take his covers off.
We're here today because we feel like the police has been, abusing their power of the stop and searches, actually targeting ethnic minorities, black and brown folks, with their arrests, tasing, etc. And even yesterday with what happened at Collinsdale. So we're just here trying to make sure that our people are protected and they're represented and our voices are heard and the police are held accountable for what they're doing.
It's sad that our people, we're all people. We're all people. Now, I can't comment on the cases that she's referring to. And I've got to say it, London is a different place to Manchester. What happens in London is totally different. Totally different. How the police deal with it down there, how the proletariat in Tottenham, Brixton, and other black areas and white areas deal with it. It's only for me to surmise what's going on, but ultimately I can't proclaim sat here in Manchester. So that it'd be wrong for me to do that. There's an element where there's bits on both sides from my take of it all, really. I do see a bit where police can get it wrong. I covered it earlier today. They can totally get it wrong. They can do things that can either get people incarcerated for the wrong reasons. They can help in order to keep them in that situation. They can also result in, things happening to them, as in the person later on down the line, in terms of violence, in terms of being left vulnerable and exposed because certain bits of it, there's a whole manner of different reasons why the police often get it wrong, often. And there's even more to say that there will be elements of corruption. There will be elements of complicit behavior, whether that be complicity for their own gain or whether they don't feel strong enough to fight against what is currently going on. There'll be a multitude of different reasons. The one thing I can't say is that it's over proportionate just to one demographic. What I see is there's a two-way thing going on. I will feel that there's a disenfranchised, probably disillusioned part of society that has felt that things have been disproportionately handled to them. But when I kind of filter in between white and black society, I see them same misdealings and injustices on both sides, respective of the different topics covered. Colour seems to be a major factor with everyone around the world. It never seems to be that with me, but people seem to make a lot of big deal out of it. I've had it myself. I constantly get it. I constantly get it from white people as well as I do from black people, as well as I do from Asian people. If people think that because I walk round or ride round on what is looked at as a nice bike, I've got a gold chain, wearing a vest and a skinhead, pair of sunglasses. If people in the black community think, well, you're going to get it from the white community looking like that, then there will be the odd look, there will be the odd connotation, but generally it depends on how I deport myself as to that. But you will get looks as people don't get that chance to engage, they'll get their own stereotypical, and you can see it at the same time, I will get that with the black population. I've had some of the weirdest looks from black people because I'm riding past them and it appears that I'm looking all right. I'm doing all right by myself, but there seems to be that little bit of a vibe and the little bit. So me, I just go on about myself. I'm not asked. I'm a self-assured, decent individual where I won't feel it on either side. Does that happen systemically? It happens quite often. I wouldn't say systemically, but at the same time, it's a question of me as well on how I deal with it and what I project. So if I get that from a white guy as well as an Asian guy as well as a black guy, fucked a lot of them. That's where I'm at. I'm all right. I'm happy in my skin. I'm happy doing what I'm doing. No matter what you may see on the external, it's what I project and the way I project my decorum, my whole persona and the way I want to treat people. And I think ultimately that always wins. People are always going to have flash kind of opinions of you either way. And I'm guilty of doing it by looking at other people. So I can't ultimately point the finger here without pointing it at myself as well. We're all human beings. I mean, one thing I have found is that the more I do this on YouTube, the more I'm finding out about anthropology as well as the system that we're all fighting against. So I get what she's saying, but there's part of me that thinks that if you're going to have that train of thought where you're thinking that everything is disproportionately against you, then everything that will be happening will be disproportionately against you because you're constantly thinking the victim mentality. But that's just my mentality on it. I don't perceive that anymore. I think my life is thoroughly much better now. I don't go down them avenues because I have been. It can be a dark road. It can be a road where you blame everyone else for the shit that's going on in your life, for the things that you haven't got. And ultimately, nine times out of 10, 8 times out of 10, who's to blame? Could there be maneuvers you make? Could you project yourself in a better way? You know what I mean? Do you want to blame the society that don't like gangbanging and don't like the music that you're into? Do you want to blame them because they're just, not into your scene? So then kind of, disenfranchise yourself from society. And I see it. I see it a lot with all demographics with the younger society as well. I do see that where there's a subculture on all levels that's being developed, own language, the way they kind of be, the way they put themselves across, which makes the average guy kind of not relate, which makes them not relate to the average guy. So you can see it. So boom, you get one incident that then gets blown up all over the place, and all of a sudden, everyone's screaming that it's happening to them. Defund the police.
We're here today because obviously the police keep using excessive force on people, and we're here today protesting for that to stop. Okay, it's not just my son. My son was killed at the hands of the police, but it's not only about my son. It's about everybody. It's about everybody. People that have been killed and people that are going to be killed, and this is why we're here today to make this We're trying to make this stop.
I can't knock that lady, and I'm sorry for the loss. I don't know the circumstances to her son's death. However, I don't think there's any good circumstance. So she may have a genuine critique in what she feels in order with her case, but thoroughly with the overall message of defund the police. Do you really want to defund the police when the police ultimately will be there when shit goes down in your own community? Ultimately will be there to sort it out. They may get it wrong. They may even come into a situation where it's a community that is disenfranchised, that has separated themselves mentally and culturally from the outside world. So you've got to look at that as well. There will be individuals within the police that are mentally shouldn't be front of house, shouldn't be doing that job, shouldn't be in that position. Totally get it. You could run through any profession and kind of play that game. But in order to make the vast sweeping maneuvers that these guys want to make, I think thoroughly, if you live your life as a a positive individual, you may get stopped, you may even get searched. I think ultimately, if that transaction is held with due respect on both sides, if the way you deport yourself at the moment that is happening is adhered to just as much as how you want to be regarded by the police, I think there's always grounds to say that most cases you're going to end up walking on your way. You might be a bit sore, your ego might be shot a bit, but if there's any redress to have, you can get any relevant numbers and go through the channels. I think to suggest that police just randomly go out just grabbing black kids and searching them up for nothing, I can't imagine that, because I've got to look at it through the eyes of the police and what they see with a disenfranchised community in front of them as well. You know what I mean? Got to see it from both sides.
We're here to protest about the
Hold on, let me go back to that.
stop and search law. Stop and the about the. We're here.
Oh, just missed it. Can we go back a little sec now? 1,752 people killed by police since 1990 in England, Wales. That's more than one every week. I can't verify that stat. I'm sure this person must have verified it before writing it on there. But what I will say then is how many people have been shot, maimed, and killed through gangland culture since 1990? How many guns, how many people lives have been ruined through the sale of the most horrible drugs. And I'm talking all demographics here. I'm not just talking about black gangs. I'm talking about white gangs, Asian gangs as well. So, yeah, we can look at that figure, and doesn't it sound bad, but we're talking, 30 years? 30 years. Now, in order to break all them down, each one of them will have a different scenario. So you can't kind of lump them together in a sense, other than to say that they've been killed while in police custody. Majority of them probably have verified in her holding that up. But same again, there's not one that's talking about the gangland violence and the people dying through knives, through guns, the families that are being held to ransom, the tit-for-tat killings that have gone on over the years in very many different places around the north and around England. You know what I mean? So I would rather defund that over the police. Defund the gangland shit over the police.
We're here to protest about the racist stop and search laws that are used massively, disproportionately on young black men to intimidate, to hurt, to damage, and stop and search doesn't even stop crime. And the statistics.
Is it there to hurt and to hate? Look at this lovely lady, right? I'm not being funny, and I've got to call it out. If there was 4 men that she's seen exactly like me, right, walking down the street, as much as she's saying what she's saying now, how would she feel? How would she feel? Particularly if they kind of got a bit of a swagger, the pants are fucking hanging off their ass, and they're disenfranchised. How would she feel then? So yeah, I get the do-gooding kind of mentality behind it. In a sense, I totally agree with you. But you've got to look at what's going on. You've got to look at the mentality that is perpetuating with some of the younger population, and it's being perpetuated by your Snoop Dogs, by your other gangbangers that portray it in music like it's a beautiful thing, like it's just a fucking Gucci watch. So then they roll round being disenfranchised and isolating themselves from the wider society. So I get how you've got the back, and I've got people who are being disproportionately, but I've got to say it from that angle as well, that not all of them will be because, oh, that black guy there, let's pull him over. I mean, that is almost Victorian in its mindset in itself, because there's got to be an element of element of I've got to question what was going on here. And the transaction takes two people. So if a policeman comes and he asks me in an articulate manner that he wants to stop and search me because he does believe, I'll remonstrate with his ass all day long. And you've seen me do it on my YouTube. I've got no problem with that. Ultimately, I'm going to comply. And then when it's found out that he had no reason to do it, then I'm going to go back and rinse his ass. Simple as. I don't need to make a big play and deny something that then he's going to up it a notch and up it a notch. And before you know it, I will be in handcuffs. So this is what I'm saying. It's a two-way thing. You can't come at it from just the police are doing bad. If I'm going there with a charged up, pumped up mentality that he shouldn't be doing this and he's racist because I'm doing it, then that two-way transaction is not going to end well for both parties, surely, because the policeman don't want this wrapped round his neck. And you don't either.
We're Enfield Stand Up to Racism, the next borough on, and we're here to show solidarity.
Good for you. Stand up for racism on all sides. Stand up for discrimination that's being doled out on all sides. And I've got your back. Yes. Bit of good music to end it. So, I mean, that's my take. It's not a big deal, but there was probably more footage there I could have analysed and psychoanalyzed. But ultimately, I think it's overboard. I do think it's overboard. And I think there's lots that can be learned from all sides on how you ought to project yourself as a freaking human being. And I don't want to put myself in any category or consider myself a victim of anything. It's up to me, ultimately, where I go with my life and the maneuvers I make, the people I talk to, how I conduct myself, and what I want to get out of that conversation. And the vibes are one. And, you know, the lack of hospital visits always is a motivating factor as well. So that's me in a nutshell anyway. That's my 2 pence, guys. Red Pill Phil, as you know, always here, sticking his oar in, probably when it's not needed at times. But at the same time, I can see that it's disingenuous what's going on. So I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in. I'd like to thank all new and old subscribers. Keep your eye out on new content coming up. But other than that, I love you all.
I love you. 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 I love you.
Even the pissing haters.
I love you. 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 I love you.